one of the last few pieces to go on there. The mill's running, we've got the inverter supply working, new 3-phase motor, so it's nice and smooth. This is the pipe that runs the coolant up from the built-in coolant pump. It's been painted over the years as it would, so I'm gonna get all the paint off, give it a bit of a polish, bull it up a bit and pop it back on, and then find a fitting that will go on there for coolant. But to be honest, I probably won't be really using coolant much in the workshop, just makes a mess everywhere. So yeah, so I'm just using a 120 grit paper to start with, so it's not too harsh, but it gets the bulk of the paint off, and then just change to something finer to clean it up. I'd replace this with a new piece if I had. I haven't got the swaging tool to actually. I've got brake line swaging, but nothing this big. So I'll just have to clean up what I've got for now. Hopefully I can do something with it, but it'll be functional. I just think it matters. Yeah, this machine's going to be used. It's not going to be put in the showroom, so it's going to look nice, but there's no point in polishing this to a high sheen, because within a week it will be all gone again. I think this is going to need scraping up first. Got the trusty Stanley scraper on there, but it's not a brand new blade, otherwise it just cuts into the copper. So just a little bit of edge off it seems to help. I don't know what that's made of. That may well be either brass or steel, I'm not sure which. Get it cleaned up a bit more. That's steel. I'll give it a polish up because it needs painting. I'll carry on cleaning up, and then I'll come back and update you once I've done all this boring work. So here's a bit of, so I just stripped this back off, gave it a bit of a polish up, and some, I moved this to, when I was painting, shifted it round and split the fibre washer behind it because it's not designed to rotate. So a couple of new fibre washers have stopped it leaking. But I just ran it up, looked down the side, and there was puddles of oil everywhere, and realised that these two mount holes are what mounts that coolant pipe to here. But that's what seals it from the gearbox, so oil's been flooding out of here. So I'm just going to but the main piece of work now is a clean up of this metalwork. I didn't mask anything off too much because this is all quite browned up anyway and rusty, so I was planning to clean it up and polish it anyway. It's just for looks really, and it's not nice having rust on anything. You can see it's all so I'm just scraping it off, regretting not masking it now because it's all taking time, but you live by your decisions. See up here, castings are not quite finished there, but these are the surfaces that matter. These are the slide-in. You can slide a T-nut up and down with a stop, and then that is actually triggered. This triggers a lever further down that stops a power feed, so it stops you actually dropping this too far down there and running it into a hard stop. So you can adjustable stop, so you can cut your feed out at certain depths. Yeah, nice system. So I'm just gonna clean all this up, then get the gib tightening set screws back in here, give everything a setup, get the dial gauge on here, and then just take it down so there's no sideways rock movement on here, and make sure that's as snug to stop any movement but nice and loose so it's a smooth action backwards and forwards. So that's the next piece of work. So this is simply some, this will be some pocket rocket, WD-40, whatever your poison of choice is. Up there, see the inverter. Ignore dodgy wiring, I've got to tidy that up in a bit. or maybe I won't. So let's have a clean up. I'm not so worried about doing this because the paint's been on here for around a week now, which should be good and set, especially as it's warmer in here now with all the extra insulation in the ceiling, which is probably why this wasn't this bad when it came in, but where the temperature's been swinging up and down because of the lack of insulation in the garage. It's yeah, it's caused some horrible temperature swings with the weather we've had, and the humidity has formed on all the heavy metal surfaces, because they obviously don't change the temperature as quick as the air does, and then you end up with a big build-up of condensation. Even if you coat them with oil, it tends to sit under the oil. So that is that. Sack the cameraman. There we go. You can see it just brightens these up a bit, and I don't like to see anything with a dark brown rust on the surface. I mean, lightly brown, once it's got like that, it will stay that way if it's kept oiled, so it kind of protects it. But yeah, I've got a bit of a thing about seeing those corroded colours on the machine. And part of the look of this machine is the contrast, so the steel surfaces against the paint. It's part of the original look. But you can clean these because these are not a running surface. These are, I'd say this surface is for the stop that runs up and down in here, and it's nothing more than that really. Nice reference surface to drop a gauge on or something, to drop your dial gauge block or something like that, but yeah. Yeah, I'm not going to be as harsh with these surfaces. I'll just give these a really good wipe down with oil. Just get all any debris off before I run it from where I've been sanding and working in the workshop, etc. Excuse me wheezing like an old fella. I've had a bit of a cough and a cold. Poor me. Okay, I'll carry on with this and then bring you back when it's a bit more interesting. As you can see, it's all looking a bit more respectable. The thing I would like to use as well is a bit of water sol to finish clean it, because I find after I've polished it with that and a bit of abrasive and a cloth, the other side I've done that and it doesn't seem to have coloured back up again, so it's obviously given a bit of protection as well as helping to brighten it. Yeah, it definitely helps lift the last bit. Any of the penetrating fluids are really good at getting the first bit off, but this takes it from dull to a sort of brighter finish. Like I say, it's all a bit of extra spit and polish. It's not. Yeah, that's a big improvement. Really see on camera how much difference it's made, but yeah, it certainly hasn't got all that brown and everything on it now. The thing is as well, the last chap that had it, Dave, he was using it as well, so because I haven't used it, it's kind of sat there with no oil. Once this thing's running, a lot of oil comes down from a wick feed. runs in the running surfaces, so then it ends up leaking out and soaking everything. It was a lovely oily machine when I got it, so I think once it's in regular use, it's not really going to be a problem anyway. But yeah, big improvement there, I think. And then I'm due to take a scraping class in April, and then when I get time, the next part will be we're going to actually strip. Once I sort of know what I'm doing, is to strip this down or inspect it first, and we'll probably end up re-scraping all of this, all the table, everything else back in, make it last another lifetime. Okay, so I'm going to give these a bit of a polish up just to clean off the paint. It's nice when you finish painting a machine that you've not got paint all over the fittings, just kind of looks finished. Okay, so we're going to drop the screws in now. Look at me getting all professional. Interesting to see what movement we get on there. So it's silky smooth to move, no problem. Let's have a look, see what we can get here. Hopefully you'll be able to see that there. Quite a lot of movement there. Oh, God, I put the dial gauge right in the way. Wah, wah, wah. I don't think that really matters. Yeah, quite a lot of movement there. So easy to move. We got 0.01 millimeters movement there. I'd say it's probably tight enough for probably can't see that. And as you can see, I've still got to level up the floor underneath. 0.01 there, and it's still nice and light to operate. Needs to go up a little bit more. Hope you can see that, but there's not much in the way of movement there, so I think we'll leave it at that. And as you move, yeah, there's still pretty smooth action as well there. So I think I'll call it there for now. Unfortunately, I'm going to use a dodgy adjustable because it's strange. It's not 13mm. It's not 9/16, and 14's too big. Perhaps these were a Whitworth spanner or something, I don't know, but BA, or can't imagine that on that size. This reminds me of setting tappets. Right, we'll test it through the range of motion now. Got a bevel gear there, you can probably hear it. It's a little bit, it's worn in one direction. So one of the first jobs when I get the dividing head on here is to make a new bevel gear. Okay, see I haven't got around to making a grinder stand yet, so it just gets bolted to the table. I don't use it for ages. So you give these a bit of a polish up. I've got some green compound, which maybe not the best for steel. I used to do stainless, but it's fine, it's what I got. And then a bit of pink on this wheel to give it a final finish, and that should be it. They're not going to be perfect because they're really old. I'd have to shop blast and re-chrome them or something. I don't know if they're chrome or if that's just the steel, but either way, Polished will hold its finish for longer. So these are just the slide locks. Starting to look a little bit better. Okay, so the coolant pipe's on there, all shiny and nice for about 5 minutes, and yeah. So I'm going to do some final checks of the Z-axis, because I think I can get a little bit of play. I'm going to check that with the dial gauge, just tighten them up, and then good oil all around, just because, and wipe down, because there's been abrasives and everything everywhere before I do too much movement. And then she's ready to put into use. I'll probably get a vise on there, start making up some parts. But the next job really is the table. And as of this morning, as well as hand scraping, I picked up a Biax power scraper. It's an old one, but the amount I'll use it probably be fine. Yeah, so I'll make scraping those a bit faster, roughing them in. I'll say I'm only looking to get them flat, just to get more surface contact, because at the moment they're only touching on the corners. And yeah, that's going to be the next piece of work. Okay, so just a bit of a walk around to finally see it back together. You can see around here, that's the inside coolant. Around the back, that's the handrail that I polished up. This side has got the original, so you can put your slip gauges in there and use them as a stop. I'm missing the little mount here, which I'm going to make up that you can put a dial gauge on there, although long term get DRL on that. That's a new motor that's running 3-phase off the inverter up there, and just thought I'd show it. So the final repairs I've got to do is there's a little crack in this housing here, so I'll be taking that off, weld that back up, and something I want to do long term, as this wheel's, it has been repaired, it's a bit wobbly, so I'd like to split it apart here and weld it back on so it's true, but again, it won't really affect. And I have some for here, I have some stainless 1mm punched sheet, so I can make some new inserts for here, just tidy it up a bit. Yeah, so she's pretty much ready to go. Can actually long last use it, although that was my fault. And next one will be onto all these, probably later today, tomorrow, onto scraping these out once I've had a good clear up. So I guess the next thing is to run her up. Hear the noise, because obviously there's that's one big and one big long straight cut gear, so they're not the quietest of machines, and it is running at a pace there. So that's the, you can see I'm not going to run the power feed up and down because I'm not sure which way's up and which way's down. So I'm quite close to the bottom here. For that. driven off of this gearbox, which has got a little oiler here, drips oil onto there.